So Real Madrid remain second, as I mentioned, past with a chance to extend their lead at the top of the table. We'll look ahead to their clash against Atleti in a moment. But first, let's welcome in, shall we? Luis Garcia, Ali Moreno with us. Ali, overall, we've seen Real Madrid do this in the past, haven't we? Rock up to games, think that just by turning up, they're going to take all 3 points. Not today.
But this wasn't the game to do that. You understand, midweek, Copa del Rey, away to Cacereño, maybe you have that approach. It's not what I would do, it's not what I would recommend, but okay, you can get away with it. Not against Villarreal at Estadio La Cerámica, where they haven't had any success. When preparing for this game, one of the things that stood out for me was reading the fact that Villarreal, over the last 10 years, you think of Real Madrid going to Villarreal, they have won more games at Camp Nou than they have at Villarreal. They have won more games at Atlético Madrid. They have won more games at Sánchez Pizjuán, at Mestalla. They simply don't win at Estadio La Cerámica in Villarreal. They have difficulties going to that stadium. They have difficulties playing against Villarreal. So you would assume that going into this match, you would have known this, that it's been difficult for you in the past, and therefore your attitude would have been, look, we have to be at our very best from the very beginning of the game. And that's what I was expecting. And man, was I wrong. I was wrong in so many different ways, because the truth is, it was all Villarreal all the time. From the very beginning of the game, Thibaut Courtois spoke about something that I don't think you would ever hear about Real Madrid players. Panicking with the ball. Panicking with possession, and it felt like that. It felt like Villarreal had all sorts of numbers around the world, around the ball, and Real Madrid simply couldn't keep possession of the ball. And we're talking about Tchouaméni and Modric and Toni Kroos, and we're talking about a very experienced back line, and it was mistake after mistake after mistake. Villarreal grew up into the game, and they deserved to win this game.
Thing is, Luis, you look at this starting 11, it's arguably one of Real Madrid's best, but no one really shone today.
Yeah, definitely. I think the approach was totally wrong in the moment of saying the intensity. When you arrive to there, and I think Ali's mentioned it, you need to cope at least with the pressure, at least with the fight, at least with the run. And first of all, I understand the Real Madrid, when they play against some other teams, they are going to be worried about you, about Vinicius. You're going to try to make 2v1 against Vinicius, or with Benzema, have an eye on him, or with Kroos and Modric, always a player on him. But when you play against Villarreal, you need to be aware that Parejo has to have someone always on him, because he is the player who dictates how this Villarreal is going to play. He was free every single time. And when he's on the ball, he's got that magic, he's got that creativity, he's got that tempo. He knows what he has to do every single moment. And when he's on the ball, you need to have a player on him to try to put him under pressure. And then you slow down Villarreal on the build-up, and then you stop the creativity of this Villarreal side, because Coquelin is not going to do that. Baena is not going to do that. And up front, the balls are not going to arrive in the perfect situation like Gerard Moreno got in the first goal, or got in the second goal. Everything started from him. So if you know that, at least put someone on him. Not every single moment, but at least on him to try to stop it. And today, I think that Ancelotti didn't give the credit that this Villarreal deserve. And, well, they got the result that they went for it.
Ancelotti's not an idiot. You know, he knows that they've struggled in the past here. He knows that this team can't just turn up and get the victory.
It's very difficult to put your finger on it, because I'm not going to disagree with what you said. And the players will have known how much they've struggled there.
Right.
But I can tell you personally, there are grounds that, for some reason, teams struggle at. And in my particular case, it was the Old Dell, Southampton.
Right.
We always struggled there.
Right.
And I can assure you, it was rammed home to us before the game that we needed to be at our best, because we always struggle there. But yet somehow it didn't work, and it didn't happen for us. It's very difficult to put your finger on it.
It's a concern, though, Craig, because we haven't seen the best of Real Madrid that much this season, have we?
Should have played Eden Hazard then. I saw you boys talking about him yesterday. I saw the stats, I saw the graphic you put up from the Copa del Rey.
The wonky pass that he had in the game.
Didn't exactly put his hand up and say, I'll come in and do a job. Look, it's too easy to say. Is it maybe one of those games where we're talking about protecting the defence and stopping Parejo and others playing, that they are missing that experience and now it's maybe of Casemiro, you know, in front of that back four to give it some protection. Tchouaméni's obviously a physical player, but he has not certainly not got the experience and nous that Casemiro has. So that's one less sort of player in that position. And yeah, I mean, this going away to this stadium here against Villarreal, as Ali said, is always going to be one of the tougher games. The way they play, the way they pass it, even though the manager's changed, Kiko Setien's in now, it's not Unai Emery, there's usually a high-tempo game. And Real Madrid were just not at the races in terms of the tempo of their passing and how they closed the ball down as well. So, yeah, I'm not surprised this result has happened. I think we're going to see more of this between now and the end of the season, possibly from both Barcelona and Real Madrid. And I think that's what's going to keep the title race open.
Yeah.
But it was a very, very average performance by their standards.